Okay, so we will get started. Okay, so in the last session, we discussed, this is the program that we did in the last section, right? So we discussed about variables. Okay, we discussed about multiple ways of doing the print. We discussed about end keyword. We discussed about 5 basic data types, that is integer, float, string, complex, and Boolean, right? So integer, float, complex, these are your numeric data type. String obviously to handle text, and Boolean is to handle yes, no kind of situation. Okay. So today let's continue to work with variables and print. There are a few more stuff which we need to understand before we go deeper. Um, So, okay, so there are a few things that you have to keep in mind when you're talking about variables. Okay, the first thing is that variable name should start with a text. Okay, you cannot have a variable name. Okay, let me delete all this. Um, so about variables. Okay, so I said variable name should start with a text. Name should start with a text. So variable name like var1 is a valid name, but variable name with one var is not valid, correct? Because it has number in the beginning, and number should not be in the beginning. Okay, it should have only text.
Yeah.
Apart from text, it can have number, and okay, variable. When I say it is variable name, can have numbers or digits, right? And underscore. So underscore is the only and special character which is allowed in creating a variable name. Okay, it's the only special character which is allowed in a variable name. Then, so you have number digits like 0 to 9, right? Then you have alphabets. Now, alphabets is case sensitive in Python. Okay, so capital A is not same as small a. Okay, so case sensitive. So it can have 0 to 9 digits. It's going to have capital A to Z, small a to Z alphabets and underscore. Okay, so 26 plus 26, 52 plus 10, 62 plus 1, 63. So you can have a variable name as a combination of these 63 characters only. Okay, nothing else. No dot, no space, no hyphen, nothing is allowed in variable name and should begin with a text. This is what
Okay.
we need to keep in mind. Okay. Now, um, now let's say I want to declare a variable. So let's declare a variable. Let's say I use cost equal to 10. Okay. Quantity equal to 5. Now, if I have to find the price, it's going to be cost into quantity, right? Into, not 8. This is into quantity. Now, what we have seen is you can print something like this, right? So print the cost of each pen, let's say. Cost of each pen is, then we say cost. So the total cost of so many pens. So we'll say quantity. Okay. So saying the cost of each pen is 10. So the total cost of 5 pens will be, and then we say price. Correct. So now when we run it, Okay, running wrong program. To select the right file to run it. And you see here, you get cost of each pen is 10. This is what we want to print. Now, the problem here, okay, not the problem, but the difficult part is that, you have to run it again and again, right? And you have to put this quotation, comma, okay, comma, quotation, because we have three fixed text, okay, which we are printing as a quotation. And then we have three variables, okay, and the final output is combination of three text and three variables. So, you have to close the text, have to again open the text, close the text. So instead of doing that, what we can do, we can directly put them as one single variable, okay, and directly put them as one single variable, okay, or one single text rather, and then indicate where to add these variables. So what I meant to say is, this is the entire text, right? So I'm going to put this entire text as one single text. So you put this, whatever you want to print. So you don't worry about comma and all those things. Now, why do we need to, replace these values with the variables? Okay, this is also correct, right? But I need to replace this 10 with variable because tomorrow variable changes. Let's say it becomes 17. Okay, the cost price increased to 17. Now, this one will give us correct answer, but this is giving us wrong answer, isn't it? Because this has fixed set of values. So obviously we need to replace these values with the actual variable, isn't it? And that's how it should be, so that whatever value you change the variable, it will take the value of the variable, not fixed value. So I'm going to replace this using what is called as format string. Okay. Okay, so the format string is different, and then you have something called as f string. Okay, f string is different. Now f here means format only. So on the older version, they had format string. Okay, and in the newer version, they have also added f string, made it even more simple. So what do we do? What it says is, okay, you copy and paste this text here as it is. And then before quotation, you put f. Before quotation, you put f. Okay. Now this 10 should be replaced with the variable here. So this is the cost, right? So I'll replace here with cost. Now this is your quantity, right? I'm going to replace here with quantity. And this is price. I'm going to replace this with price. Now, if you run it, what happens? Okay, this pen has become a normal text, isn't it? Because we are writing pen, Python doesn't know that you have this has to be variable. Okay, it doesn't know that it has to be variable. We have to tell to the Python that this is a variable and don't treat it as a fixed value, but replace the value with its variable. Don't treat this as a fixed text, but replace this with a variable. Okay, so how do we do that? We need to put curly bracket around it, right? Now see, you have cost here and cost here, right? Now Python will not assume that these are variables, right? See, this is where I want to replace this with its value, but this is an English cost, not a variable cost. So how do you differentiate English cost with variable cost? You put a curly bracket around. You put a curly bracket around. Okay. So now when you run it, see what happens. So this is way to tell to the Python that, okay, that this is a variable, treat it like a variable, not as a fixed text. So this will not be printed as it is. Okay. Now this is the importance of f string, because f string will warn to the Python, okay, that we are going to use variable inside the text, so be careful. Okay, because in this case, if I don't put variable, sorry, if I don't put F here, then Python will not know that you are trying to do formatting. Okay, so two things. We have to put F here before the quotation, outside the quotation, right? Before the quotation, outside, to indicate that what follows are text. Sorry, or what follows are format text, right? So this is first thing you have to do. And second thing is replace these variables. Okay, so like cost, quantity. Oops, what did I do? Okay, quantity, right? And price. Okay, now when you run it, so see, output is exactly same. So personally, when I have to deal with just one variable, right? I use the original approach, the sprint approach. But whenever I have to deal with more than one variable, 2, 3, 4 variables, okay, I use this, right? So when you're trying to find the area of a circle, okay, so you'll have to print again, like, the radius is and area is, right? So you can say that area of a circle with radius 5 is whatever. So that's also, we can print it this way, or you can print it this way. Okay, learn this way, because when you actually get down to real programming, you'll have a lot of situations where you'll have to handle multiple variables. Okay, so this is the better and easier way, more efficient way to do this. But see, both are exactly same. They are giving same result. Okay, so there's no difference. But here you don't have to put quotation close, comma, again quotation close, right? So you're avoiding more work basically.
Yeah.
So whatever is in your mind, you write it down. Okay, the cost of each pen is the cost. So the total cost of quantity pens will be price. And then you go back, put a F here, and replace this, or put curly bracket around. Okay, so this is called formatting. Okay, format string. Now let's say I'll use something similar. Okay, so I'll go here and I'll say, um, let's say cost, I'll make it as 100. Okay, now let's do the reverse thing. So I'll put price as 100. Okay, okay, I have price, I have quantity, and I don't have cost, let's say. Okay, cost I'll count. So how do you do the cost? You do price by quantity, correct? Let's say you have 33 quantity. So price is 100, quantity is, price is 100, quantity is 33, and I want to find, cost of each pen or each unit, right? So this is how you do, right? You divide the value, total value, by the unit, okay? And when you divide, of course, you will get the value. Now, in this case, if I print it here, see, what do you see? 3.03030303, right? Now, if you are using price, okay, for us, two digit is enough. I don't have to, have 10, 15 unit, correct? So this can also be formatted. So you can say here, cost, colon. Now, remember here, two things. First thing that we have seen so far is handling a variable in a quotation. Handling a variable in a quotation. So if you have to handle cost, okay, if I have to handle cost, which is a variable in a sentence, I will put this in a curly bracket, which is good. Now, if I have to format it, okay, if I have to format it, then format in the sense, in float, you want to remove or you want to have just one fixed unit after decimal or 2 units after decimal. So we need to put colon here. So you say cost colon followed by dot. So colon means left of colon is a variable and right of colon you are doing some formatting. So if you are not doing any formatting, you don't need colon. But you are putting a colon indicating that left of colon is the variable, but right of colon you are doing some kind of formatting. You are doing some kind of formatting here. So I'll say okay colon. Now since it's a float, I want to do float kind of formatting. So I'll say dot, and let's say I want 2 spaces after dot. So full stop to F. F indicates the float value. Okay. Now when you run it, so you see this has formatted your output or float value. If you want only one decimal place, you will put 0.1F. If you want 2 decimal places, right? So this is how you can format a float value. Okay, and you can decide how many decimal place you want it to display. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Now we will do something similar for, let's say, a text data. Okay. So let's take an example here. I'm going to say player, okay, equal to, okay, so I can declare 3 variables together in a straight line. Player, country, position, let's say. So I say player is Kohli, country is India, position, let's say I put opener. Okay. So why there is error? Okay, I missed here. Okay. So what happens here when you have multiple values on the left? Okay, multiple variables on the left and equal to multiple values on the right. Values will always be on the right, just like mathematics. Okay, in mathematics also we write x equal to 5. We don't say 5 equal to x, right? We say x equal to 5. So your variables are on the left side, which is player, country, and position. And the right of colon, we have given the values. So first value will go to first variable. That means Kohli will be added to player. India will go to country. Okay, position will take value opener. Okay, so let's say these are 3 variables that we have added, and we gave values to these 3 variables. Okay, okay. Then what do we do? Let's print it something like this. So I'm going to say print F. So I'll say player, or I'll say here player Kohli plays for the country. Okay, country, and does and is position. Okay, so player Kohli plays for the country India and is position for the team, opener for the team. Okay, now when you run it, great. So you get player Kohli plays for country India and is opener for the team. Okay. Now let's say I want to print one more value here. Player, country, position. This time I want to use some Zimbabwean player. Let's say this is the guy, and let's say, this is the country, and let's say he's a wicket keeper of the team. Okay. Now when you print it, I'm clicking the wrong button. Okay. So when I click on it, you see player, plays for the country, Zimbabwe, and wicketkeeper for the team. Obviously, the second statement, okay, has more values, correct? Has more
Yeah.
value with more text, so it will be longer. But let's say your requirement here is that you want to print all these value one below another. Okay. When I say one below another, that means you want to make sure that the player will be under player. So this is perfectly fine. You want place to be under place. Okay. Now this name is small. So so you don't want place to start from here. You want to have a extra space here, let's say. Okay. So that place is exactly below place, country is exactly below country, then and is exactly below and. So what can we do that? We can do that when we give a fixed number of spaces for each of the variables. Okay, so we want to give fixed number of spaces. So I want to give, let's say, 15. Okay, so this is 3 plus 3 plus 3, 9, right? Let's say I want to give 12 spaces for this. I want to give 12 spaces. Here I want to give 10 spaces. Here I want to give 15 spaces. Okay, so I'm doing formatting for the text. So if I do formatting for the text, how do you do formatting? We put colon, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to put colon here. And for player, I want to give 12 spaces. I'll put player 12, colon 12. Here for country, I want to give 10 spaces. I'll say colon 10. I want to give 15 places for position. So I'll say colon 15. Great. Okay. So these are the places we want to give. So what happens? The player will take 10 spaces. Now the question comes, Kohli is 4-letter and you give 12 position. So, okay, so you have 12 empty spaces and, 5 characters will be placed. So we'll have 7 empty spaces. The question is, okay, which of the 12 spaces this Kohli will take? Will it take the leftmost? What you say alignment in Word document, right? When we do alignment. So we say left aligned, center aligned, and right aligned. So should it be left aligned, right aligned, or central aligned? Okay. Should it be left aligned or center aligned or right aligned? So we have to indicate, because see, just giving 12 spaces is not enough. We also have to give the alignment. Okay. So I'll say here, I want player to have left alignment. So I will say less than. Less than means, okay, you are saying that you have 12 spaces, great, but put this text onto the left, arrow towards the left, right? So you're saying text go to the left in your position. So I've given 12 seats. Let's say you enter into a bus, right? And bus has 12 seats. Okay. Which seat will you take? So leftmost, I'm saying go and take leftmost value. So you'll take leftmost. Then let's say I want to say rightmost. So I will say greater than. Greater than means you're saying go to the right, right? So the country India is only 5-letter and you're saying 12 or 10 maybe here, right? When you're saying 10, you're saying, okay, you have 10 spaces. So you leave first 5 empty and take the last 5 space. Okay, so it will leave the first 5 spaces blank because it's a 5-letter word, so it needs only 5. So it will take the last 5 characters. First 5 characters will be empty. In the left, in the left alignment, yeah, empty spaces will be on the right side. For your right alignment, empty spaces will be on the left side. Now let's say I want to do center alignment. Center alignment means I want to leave okay, equal number of spaces on both the side. Now, if I want to leave equal number of spaces on both the side, then what's the challenge? Okay, so it says go up. Okay, go up. If you look at your 6, right? And you have this go up. We call them caret sign, or what do we call them, right? So we are saying have a center aligned. Now, center aligned means equal number of spaces on both the side. So if your total spaces is 15 and your text takes 8, okay, or let's take with 7 and then we'll talk about it. So your text is only 7 characters. So you have 8 characters to handle, right? 8 blank spaces. This is okay, leave 3 blank spaces to the left and 3 to the right. Okay, so 3 blank spaces will be left to the left and 3 to the right, and your text will be in the middle one. Okay. Now, let's say you have 8 characters. Now you have 7 blank spaces. So the left side will take the least one. Okay, and right side will take the maximum one. So when you have 7, so you will leave 3 and 4. Okay, only odd number of spaces only you'll have problem. Okay, so left will have less, right will have more. Otherwise, it is equal number on both the side. Okay, so let's see the output of this. Okay, and same thing I will do for this one also. You see this? We have kept 12 spaces for player, so it took 12 spaces. So both took 12 spaces. Okay, this is only 9 spaces, right? So it has left 3 spaces on the right. Okay, Kohli has only 5, so it has left 7 spaces blank on the right. Same thing now, look at the country. Country is right aligned. So the blank spaces is onto the left. Okay, so text got moved or right aligned, and your blank spaces is on the left.
Yeah.
Right? Now you
Yeah.
see here. This has equal number of spaces on both the side. Okay, so this is how you can do formatting of your text data.
Yeah.
Okay, this is how you do formatting in your text data. Now, I don't like blank spaces. Okay, I want to give, let's say, dot dot. Generally, when you see, the check and or you create this demand draft, right? And there will be 6 spaces and your data is only 3, so it'll put dot dot before this. So what it says is, if I copy this one, so when you do not put anything before the operator, less than, greater than, or center, okay, okay, if you do not put anything, it puts blank spaces. It puts blank spaces. Okay. Now, if I put a dot here, whatever you put, that will be printed here. You can put any character. You can put A. You see, AA is printed here. You could put X. Okay. So whatever you put, that character will appear here. I put X. You see, X is appearing because this is probably 13 characters. Okay, we can keep it 13 characters. You can count it. So 2 spaces are left, and since we said center aligned, you have 1 blank space on both the side, and it puts X on both the side. So when you don't mention anything, it is blank spaces. You can mention dot or you can mention any character. Okay, underscore. Then you'll put underscore before it and after it. If it is right aligned, sorry, left aligned or central aligned. All right. So this is how we do formatting for text. Priti, you're late. Did you understand what we discussed on this? I think
No, sir.
I think you were here when we did that, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So I'll quickly revise. We waited for you for about 10, 12 minutes. Okay. So what we'll do here, okay, I'll just revise quickly what we did. So here we are saying that we have these three variables, okay? Okay, cost, quantity, and price. And before that, we spoke about how to use the variable names, okay? Your variable name should always start with text. You cannot start your variable name with 1 or 2 or anything. It has to start with text. So if you have to say cost, you have to use cost. If you have to say cost 1, num1 or total 1, you have to say total 1. One total, one cost is not accepted. Okay. So your variable name should start with text. And second thing is, apart from text, variable name can have digits and underscore. You can say, price, like cost per quantity or something like this. Okay. You can use underscore allowed, but you cannot use space or hyphen. Okay. Apart from text and digits, only underscore is the only special character which is allowed while naming a variable name. Right?
Yes.
Okay. So this is about, this is about variable names. Then we spoke about the format string. So what we said is, okay, if you look at this case, we are putting text. This is what we did on the last session, right? We put text, then we put variable, then text. Now, when you are putting multiple parameters, okay, multiple set, like we can put text, fixed text, this is text. So when you put anything in quotation, it will be printed as it is, correct? Now, after this, we want to put a variable. Now, this variable, we want to replace it with a value. Want to replace it with a value. Now, when you see a text and a variable, what we do, we close the quotation, we put a comma, and then we put the variable name, right? So it's like quotation, comma, variable name, again, comma, quotation close, quotation open, quotation close, comma, right? So it can be confusing. So I was saying that personally, when I have more than one variables, 2, 3, 4 variables to handle, I use, okay, I don't use this method. I go with what is called as F string. So F stands for format string. Okay. So what does F string do here? It says that you have a single quotation. So we are not closing the quotation. Okay. We are putting a single quotation and it says you put the entire text that you want to display within the quotation. To indicate, to tell the Python that we are doing formatting, you put a F here. So F, small f, not capital F, small f is added before quotation. So small f is added before quotation. This is optional. Okay, you can always do this one, but I'm doing this. Okay, which I like this. This is easier to do than the other one. So I like to use this. So I'm saying, okay, let me use content in a quotation, and I'll put fixed text. Okay, followed by the variable. Fixed text variable. So I put cost here. So I put F and then I'll put cost here. But Python will not know, okay, that this is string, text, or a variable. So to indicate to the Python that, okay, this is, this cost is not a string, but this is variable name, I'll put a curly bracket around it. So F will make you use a single quote, and to indicate which are variables, you put them in the curly bracket, flower bracket. When you put it under curly bracket, okay, if you put it under curly bracket, then what happens? It is marked as variable. So when you run the program, okay, So here you see the output you have. Okay, each of the value is being replaced with each of the variable is being replaced with its value. Okay, and this is how we can do format string in a variable. Okay, then we spoke about formatting a string, sorry, formatting a float here before we did the string. So here, let's say we use price, where we have changed the formula. We have price and quantity. Now I want to find the cost per quantity. So cost per quantity is your price divided by quantity. Now 100 divided by 33 will give you 3.0303003, such a big number. I don't want to display such a big number. I want to display just 1 decimal point or 2 decimal point. You can decide, oh, I want to display on 33.0. I don't want to talk about 3030, right? So if you're doing that, okay, we need to format the variables or your float variables. So to indicate float variable, okay, that we need to format, you need to put colon here. So far we have not used colon, okay, because we were formatting the entire output. Now I want to format the specific value. So to format specific value, you have to put colon. Okay, so left of colon will be the variable that you are formatting, and right of colon, okay, is how do you want to format. Okay, so here I want to format, or I want to print cost up to 1 decimal point only. So if you want to print only up to 1 decimal point, I will say 0.1f. Point means decimal point, 1 means 1 character after decimal, and f means treat it as a float value. So that's why we say colon 0.1f. This is to indicate that the variable that you are using, okay, corresponding, it is left to right match. Okay, so here you have cost, so it will be cost only. Is not, like anything that you want to print, you have to format it before print. So 0.1 indicate 1 decimal point after one place after decimal, and f indicates it's a float. So now when you run this, you would get 3.0. Any questions so far on what we just did? Okay, so yes, guys. Okay, guys, you have to practice initially. Okay, I've already shared the link where I'm going to upload the videos and the content, right? So please, when the class is done, practice it once. Okay, and it will help you to understand the concept. Okay, because it's see, I always say the learning programming is like doing a maths program or maths solution, right? Not a maths program, but maths problem. So let's say when you are looking at a problem and you don't know what to do. So what do? We look at the solution, right? We look at the guide and we see how they solved it. But when you see how they solve it, you'll find it easy, right? You take the most difficult problem in mathematics, and when you see the steps of solving, you will feel it, oh yeah, it's so easy to solve it. Okay, so when you look at somebody's else program, you will always think, yeah, that makes sense. This is what we should be doing. So it when you look at, okay, when you look at a solution, or when you look at somebody's else program, it's like your math solution. You'll find it easy. But when you start solving it, right, when you start writing maths solution steps, then you get confused. What should I do? Should I multiply with -1? Should I divide by 2? That's how you get confused, isn't it? Programming is exactly like that. Okay, so programming is exactly like that. When you start your line number 1, then you'll start, oh, what should I do here, line number 2? So the thing is, more you practice, more you'll understand and solve. If you look at this computer problem, these are easy to solve. Okay, these are very easy to solve. Okay, only difficulty here is that we miss the step, because our mind is so fast. If I ask you what is 5 plus 4, if I ask you what is 5 plus 4, you will tell me even before thinking. But is it correct? Do you tell before thinking? No, mind has thought, isn't it? Mind has calculated, that's why I got 9. Okay, only why we think that we got it very soon or before thinking is our mind worked much faster than we could even imagine. Same thing happens with program. Okay, you have to first break it down to different steps. each step. Okay, and then you start programming. So if I want to add two numbers, so first I need to get one number, then I need to get two numbers, a equal to 5, b equal to 6. Then I have to find the sum, right? So I need a third variable to store the sum. So I'll say c equal to a plus b, correct? A is 5, b is 6, c is, or total is a plus b. Total you can say a plus b, and now you can go and print total. So this is how we think, and this is how we do the programming. Sometimes our mind works much faster and we are slow and we don't know how to get it because our mind has already crossed fast. You have to slow down your mind when you are doing computer programming. That's when you will get all the steps. If you see these programs, it's very stepwise, right? Okay, I'm taking price as a variable, I'm taking quantity as a variable, I'm calculating cost as price by quantity. Tell me, how is it different than your class 2, 3 class problem, mathematics problem? Exactly same. Now, I want to print this. So to print this, you use print. Simple, isn't it? I want to display it onto the screen. If you don't want to display, don't use print. If you want to display, you use print. Now, when you use print, okay, fine. Now you have, okay, because you have some text which you want to print, okay, and you want this text to be printed irrespective of change in the value. We call them as constant, okay, not changing. Variables are those which changes its value, right? So the cost of each pen is, this is the constant. So I'll put it as a quotation here as constant. But is cost, I mean, is also text, but cost is something that needs to be replaced, dynamic. So that has to be within your curly bracket. Simple. Next comes, if you have a decimal point and you are not interested in all the decimal point, so you will say 0.1. 0.1 means you are saying, okay, please, use 0.1 only. Okay, that means use only 1 point after decimal value or after decimal sign or decimal point. Use only one value. So 0.1. F to indicate that it's a float value. So you want it to be a float value. So 0.1 F. Simple. If you want 3 decimal places, you will say 0.3 F. Makes sense? Any questions here?
No, sir.
No, right? Okay, awesome. So next, if you look at the next here, okay, we are doing formatting for a text data. Okay, formatting for a text data means you have you want to print them in a fixed number of spaces. So you assign 12 spaces and your text should appear within those 12 spaces. So I'm saying before colon is a variable name, after colon formatting starts. So whenever you are doing formatting, you put a colon here. So great, I want to put 12 spaces. So you say colon 12. Now you have 12 spaces, but the text that you are printing is only has only 6 characters. Okay, so which 12 spaces should it take? The first 12 or last 12 or mid 12? So you have this sign to indicate. Left indicates take the left spaces, right to say that take right spaces, greater than sign to take the right spaces, and this sign which is on your number 6 keystroke to indicate that take the central space. All right. All good?
Yeah.
Right? Yes. Okay, so with that, we finish our basic programming. Now we need to start getting into advanced type. But before that, I want to tell you one more concept here, okay, which is called as input function. So see, so far what we have been doing, input and then escape sequence also will do. Now see, so far what we've been doing is we have been giving the value to the variable in the program itself, right? So you're saying cost equal to 17, a quantity equal to 5. Now, since we are the programmer, we can go and change it. But when we give this, when you deploy it, right, we can't change it, right? So when you deploy it, then as a developer, we lose, control of it, right? It's now used by people who may not even know which program is running in the backend. See, when we book an app or when we use any of the software, do we know which software is being used? No, right? And we don't need to know, and that's okay also, right? We don't need to know also. So how can this value be changed, right? Now, you can't build a ticket booking app where you have fixed the, from and to destination. You are expecting user to give you the from and to destination and the date and things like that. So all these values that you need to process or create a ticket has to be entered by the user, right? And of course, every user will have a different value, and this will change based on the user. So how do we make your program take what we call as dynamic value? This is fixed value. You want, the user to give you dynamic value. So we say input dynamic value from the user. How do we do that? So if I say a equal to 15, it is fixed. So I will not say equal to 15, but instead I will say a equal to input. A equal to input. So when you say input, it waits for you to give a value to it. Okay. So now if you see here, exit code 0, right? When you run the program. Exit code 0 means your program has run successful. That's what we discussed earlier. Exit code 0 means, okay, your program has run successfully. Exit code non-zero, 1, -1, whatever, means your program has some error. But it has exited, okay, it has done, it's over now, right? So it is over. Now, if I run this program here, okay, let's see what happens. There is no exit code. That means your program is still running. Why is this program still running? This program is still running because we haven't added or we haven't given the value for input. Input is to read the value from the user, from the keyboard. So it is waiting for us to read this value. You with me? Did you understand? It is waiting for us to give the value. So when I say 5 and when I hit enter, so you see the program has finished. So this is how A will take the value from us. This is how A will take value from us. Now I can say here B equal to, or let's say A only. I'll say print. I'll say you have entered, okay, and I'll say comma A. So now when you run it, it's waiting for us to enter. I say 100 and it says you have entered 100. Okay, great. So this is how you input the value. Once you input, now the variable will take that same value which you enter. Okay. Okay. Now when you run it here, okay, since we have written a program, so we know what kind of value we are expecting here. But as a user, let's say you have not used this application. First time you are using application. You don't know what to enter here, isn't it? You don't know what to enter here. Then what do? We can give a message. Input can take only one. Okay. Input can take only one fixed value or your string. So I can say here within input, I can say enter a number. So when I'm saying enter a number, okay, what does that mean? It means this message will be displayed onto the screen. So when you run it now, okay, so because we have to finish it, right? So now when you run it, you see it says enter a number, right? Earlier we did not give anything inside input, so it did not print anything, but it was waiting for us to enter. But now you can read it because we have given that message within the input bracket. So now we are saying input a number. Input a number means we are asking the user, okay, time for you to input a number. Time for you to input a number. So the message is clear, isn't it? So we know what we need to do here. So I need to enter a number. I can say enter the length of the rectangle, enter the circle of, enter the radius of circle. Correct? So I can say what to do, and as a user, you know what needs to be done. Okay, so I know that I have to enter a number. Great, I've said 100. So it says you have entered 100. Now, if I print the type of this, what do you think the type of this will be? Data type of, now I can say something like this. Okay, F string, data type of A is type of A. What do you think the type of A will be?
Integer.
Integer. Enter 100. See, it says string, not integer. Okay, see, when I'm saying A equal to 100, okay, so for example here, let's say, if I say B equal to 100, that means I'm assigning an integer value, correct? But if I say B equal to, or let's say C equal to 100, then what am I assigning?
Okay, string.
String,
Between
right?
double quotes.
Correct. So here when I say because equal to quotation, we know it is string. Okay. Okay. But here, how will Python know what you're entering? You're entering integer 100 or string 100 or Boolean. Of course, Boolean can't have 100 or even maybe float, right? Or even, okay. So you don't know. So what Python says is, since I will not know what you're going to enter, because Python cannot read our mind, even though it says number, doesn't mean that you might want number. Okay, you can say something like, don't enter a number or something like that, right? Your Python will not know. So Python says, since I will not know, since I cannot predict what you're going to enter, I will assume that you are entering string. Input function, okay, since it can't predict what value is being entered, okay, it assumes that all the input value is a string. With me here, did you understand? But I need a number. I need a number to perform addition. I need a number to perform multiplication, which I cannot do with text. So when you are getting this value, you say A equal to int of input, enter a number. So it's like same thing, like, let's say you're doing A of input, okay? And now you will say, oops, I think I deleted something. Yeah. I'll say A equal to input, and now I will say A equal to int of A. So this is called as explicit conversion. Explicit conversion of data type. So A was what? String. A was string. Now I want it to be integer. I want it to be integer. Okay. So here you see when I print This one, I'll say 2 dot, just to differentiate it from the first statement. Now, when you run it, if enter a number, I say 100, it says string. Here I'm saying enter a number 200. See, it says class integer. So you have, see, so far we have seen how many functions? We have seen print function and type function, right? We have seen print function and type function. Now we have learned input function. If you want to convert a value into integer, you have to say int of, not input of, int of. Int is a function to convert a data type from whatever data type you have, whatever, to integer. If you want to convert into float, you say float of. You might have to convert into string, you have to say str of. To convert something into boolean, you have to say bool of. Convert into something into complex, you have to say complex of. Right? So you have functions like int of, bool of, float of, complex of, str of. These are the functions to translate or convert one type of data type to another type of data. Integer to float, float to integer. You can do using these functions, You can do using these functions provided that it is possible to convert. Okay, now when I try to run it, okay, I say 100, fine. Now here I'm saying data type ABC. Now when I do ABC, can we convert ABC into integer? No, you can't convert text value into integer. So if you give ABC, the integer will fail and this is going to give you error. So before you run int of, float of on a string value, for that matter, any value, if you're running something convert, you have to make sure that it is possible to convert. Then only you are able to convert them. Otherwise, you'll get error like this. So if the A cannot be converted into integer, it'll give you error. If A cannot be converted into complex and you're trying to give complex, it will give you error. Right? So when you're converting, you have to make sure that you understand the original value of, okay, what value this original value has, or what is the original value, and if it is possible to convert, only then you can convert. With me?
Nope.
Yes. Okay. So, okay. So let's do one more concept, one more small concept we will do, and then we will end for the day. This is called as escape sequence. So how do we put a new line? We saw yesterday, right? Print, not yesterday, whenever we met last, we say /n is for new line, correct? So when you run this, what happens? Okay, I have to, move them to the original file, because every time this will ask me to run, right? So I'll put them here, and this will straight away get into our notes there later. Give me like a couple of hours and you'll have both video and text uploaded there. Okay, so now when I run this program, okay, you see this, we said /n. Okay, this is backward slash, right? Backward slash is called escape sequence. Okay, this is used to add or remove superpower. Now, this is not how you answer in the interview. Okay, if somebody asks what is escape sequence, but let's understand escape sequence, then you'll be able to answer it. But this is to keep in your mind. What is escape sequence? Oh, it adds power or removes power. If you are a normal person, you become a Superman. If you're a Superman, you become a normal person. Now, N is a normal person. N is a normal text. Normal text. And when I print this, you get N is for new line, correct? Whatever you put, it'll come. But when you add slash to it, it becomes new line. It adds a new line. Okay, so slash n is for new line, slash t is for tab. Okay, so when you do it, okay, you get new line. So it adds a line, right? So if I have to add something like, we are talking about, and then I give slash n, right? So slash n. Now you see this escape power, okay, sequence works only for one character after it appears. So even though I'm saying dot slash nis, the slash will work only for n, not for is. So you get, we're talking about is for new line, right? So slash n, okay, slash backslash works only for one character. We call it as escape sequence. It adds power. Normal n became, which had become power, which is breaking the line. Similarly, you have slash t. T is for adding tab number of spaces. By default, you have 4 spaces, okay, for the tab. So it added 4 plus, about. So, okay. So it added 4 spaces. There is no extra space here. So it added 4 spaces after about and before is. Okay. This is called, okay, escape sequence. Now, let's say I don't want to add escapes, slash n. I want to use slash n as it is. Okay. If I put slash n, it will give me new line, right? But I don't want slash n to give me new line. Okay. Then what do we do? So there are 2 options. One is escape sequence option only. You put, okay, escape sequence option only. You put one more slash. So when you put 2 slashes, escape sequence will remove the power that is given to the backslash. So first slash we added to get power, right? Second slash, if you add, these 2 slashes will become one single slash. Okay. So now when you run it, since we have given 2 slashes here, it became one single slash here. Okay. So when you do not want slash to show its power, you always follow up with 2. 2 together will make 1. So it will appear 1. But in fact, in the program, it is 2 together. Okay. Because if I don't give 2, if I give 1, then it will take its own meaning to it. Right? Similarly, if you want to print, slash, I will say slash n as it is, I'll say double slash n. Now let's say I want to print something like this. Slash n in Python prints slash n. I want to print this text as it is. So what will I do? So I'll say print, okay, double slash n in Python prints, okay, let's say I would add here s, print slash n. Now when you run it, so what happened? This 2 slash n became 1 slash is Python prints in Python, okay? In Python print slash n, so it added a new line. So if I add one more slash here, so you get in Python prints, right? In Python prints. But how do I make it double slash n? How do I make it double slash n? Two slashes together made 1 slash, isn't it? How do I make these 2 slashes? Any guess? Let's guess, no? I've been talking for last 1 hour.
3 slashes.
Sorry?
Will it work? Will 3 slashes work?
3 slashes? Okay. So see what happens when you add 3 slashes. Here's my mouse cursor. Oops. My system became hanged. Just a second. Oh, I don't know why it happened. I think it should be fine now. It has become slow. 1 second. Yes. So see what happened. These two slashes together became one slash. Correct? We said two together become one slash. But now what is left is slash n. So slash n will break the line, isn't it? So it has broken the line.
Yeah.
So you have to make 4 slashes. Okay? Because these two together will form one slash and these two together will form another one. So these 4 together becomes 2 slashes.
Okay.
Okay? So this is how we manage escape sequence. Of course, it has more features we'll discuss as we go along. Okay? So with that, we finish our basic Python programming. Tomorrow when we meet, we'll talk about, how to perform operators and expressions. Okay. Any question before we wrap up?